The winner is the only individual who is truly alive. Every time you win, you are reborn. When you lose, you die a little. But power is not based on winning all the time. A man who has to win every battle is asking the impossible of himself and the world, and is likely to collapse the first time he encounters defeat. A powerful woman, by definition, is able to survive failure and humiliation, to draw some deeper wisdom from them, and to practice what John F. Kennedy called grace under pressure. The essence of power is the ability to cope with the demands of life, not to react like a paranoid at every real or imagined threat, or waste one's life and energy trying to submit everything to one's own control. The world is a disorderly and dangerous place, and always has been, and the man of power, or woman, must learn to live in it comfortably. It is one thing to have a sense of order, but quite another to impose that sense of order on the rest of the world. No amount of power is sufficient for that. And one can only fail in the attempt. A person may have a resounding title, a great position of authority, money, influence, but if we notice that their hands are constantly fidgeting on the desk and that they can't look us in the eye, and they cross and uncross their legs as if suffering from a bad itch in the crotch, and that when the phone rings, they can't make up their mind whether to pick it up or ignore it, we can then, I think, safely conclude that they are not a person of power. However humble our own position, we have a chance of getting whatever it is we want. How often we fail to recognize this, how long it takes us to learn the difference between real and simulated power. What opportunities we waste, not to speak of time. Often we look for power where there is only fear, greed, and self-interest. We have to learn to recognize the signs of power and to fight subtly, ruthlessly, constantly for our own. As nations carry on diplomacy and war to maintain their own independence, so we too must play the games of power in order to be ourselves, to avoid being lived by events rather than living them. What is at stake is our ability to be the person we want to be, rather than being the person others want us to be. What we all want is what Rollo Mary describes as sense of significance. A person's conviction that he or she counts for something, and that we have an effect on others, and that we can get recognition from our fellows. Thus, trivial as power games may sometimes seem, they are a means of defining who we are, of preserving both our freedom of action and our ability to affect change. We learn early on in the schoolyard that things often go badly for bystanders, that engaging ourselves in events may lead to their turning out in our favor rather than against us. When you pick up the phone, write an email, join in the conversation, you are, like it or not, initiating a game, at the end of which you will either feel pleased with yourself or have the nagging sense that you have somehow been diminished, reduced in significance. Nothing is static. Every action makes us more or less than we were before. Even the most mundane office is a place in which to test our power. Every moment in the day offers us the opportunity to try our skills, to enjoy our triumphs, to learn something from defeats. For we cannot always be victorious. Most of us think that power lies elsewhere, in the next office, on the floor above, in the White House, beyond our reach, but it is all around us. We only have to seize it. It does not lie beyond the everyday activities of our lives, but in them. This is your world. You are a person of this world. And out there in that world is your hunting ground. There is no way to escape the doing of our world. So what a warrior does is to turn his world into his hunting ground. As a hunter, a warrior knows that the world is made to be used, so he uses every bit of it. A warrior is like a pirate that has no qualms in taking and using anything he wants, except the warrior doesn't mind or doesn't feel insulted when he or she is used and taken themselves.